In my last video, I reviewed Reason 12, which I still think is a terrible update. However, my goal has never been to just criticize Reason. I love the software, I use it all the time, and I want it to be better. And so when Reason Studios do something that I think is legitimately awesome, I want to point that out. In this video, we're going to go through a recent blog post that the CEO of Reason Studios released and talk about what that means for the future of the software. And does this change whether or not you should update to Reason 12. Before we do that though, a couple of points from the last video. I was having trouble updating Radical Piano, Clang, Pangea, Humana to high res. Turns out there is a way to do that. You just have to remove them first and reinstall them. And now we have HD. That fixes that problem. Let's have a look at the new blog post that the CEO of Reason Studios released. I've said for a long time that I think Reason Studios needs to be more transparent and tell us where they're going with product development, as they haven't really listened to the community and most people have no idea what the heck they're doing. This blog post starts to do that, which is fantastic. I think it's a little late. It would probably have been more helpful to get this before the Reason 12 release, as I think that would have minimized a lot of the negative feelings a lot of people have had about the Reason 12 release. So check it out. This blog post is called Getting Lost in the Fun of Serious Music Making, a Roadmap for Reason. Love it. This is directly from the CEO. Since Reason Studios released Reason in 2000, we like to think we've made Reason quite a lot better. Yeah, Reason Studios has evolved as a company too, but one thing that has remained constant at Reason Studios, we've always kept our cards close to our chest. Yep, there was good reason to do so in the era of big box releases when we started out. Long release cycles meant that it was important to make sure our competitors never knew what we were up to. Fair, you know? That's what happened back in the day when companies were releasing software and you bought it in a box. I still have the box somewhere. It's holding up my keyboard. But today in 2021, the world has changed and we believe being transparent about what we are working on suits both us and the community better. I'll be the first to admit this is for selfish reasons too. If we can get your feedback earlier, that means we can build better stuff. But we also know that buying software today is different than in 2003. You are not just buying some music making software, you are investing your time and energy into the whole Reason ecosystem. And to do that, you need to know what direction we are going in. This point is so important. Someone commented in my last video and said that it's not about the money. People are investing their time into learning the DAW, into developing it. It's not necessarily just the upgrade cost that people pay every year that has them so frustrated. Sure, this year it's debatable about whether there's actually value for money delivered in the update cost. But it's the time spent over a period of years, the investment people have made into the ecosystem, into building a rack, collecting rack extensions. All of that is what fuels the frustrations that a lot of long-time users have about where the software is going. And it's I think, a bit of doubt. They're like, should I keep using Reason? I really want to, but given what we've been seeing, I don't know if I should. Am I going to be forced out of it at some point? If that's going to happen, maybe I should just leave now. I think that's a lot of what people have been feeling. To be just a little overly dramatic, this blog post is the start of a new chapter for us where we will be more transparent towards the community about what we are working on and what you can expect going forward. I love this. This is something that Matthias has already mentioned in the live streams, and that it's reiterated coming from the CEO, and that we actually have a blog post that's starting to outline a roadmap. This is good. This is Reason Studios showing us that, okay, they've said a few things. You know, I'm still a little mistrustful, but they've said a few things and they're actually taking steps to deliver on what they've said. We don't want this to be a speaker blasting out our plans to an audience that at best are invited to sing along in the chorus. We hope you will all join us at the microphone and tell us your thoughts too. The virtual microphone, in this case being Reason Talk, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So feel free to speak up on what you think of our direction. This is great. A lot of people have told me to just shut up and make music at different points. Fine, like I get your sentiment. But I also am interested in the development of music technology in general. And I love Reason, have strong opinions about Reason, and feel like sharing them is how we get conversation happening. It's how we end up with the best version of Reason. And this is what the CEO of Reason Studios is essentially asking us to do here. If you have thoughts about Reason, comment on Instagram, on Facebook, on the Reason Talk forum. Let them know what you want to see. Hopefully, this is the first step for Reason Studios actually listening to the community and delivering on some of the things that people are asking for. Our vision for Reason. Our vision for Reason is to make it the place where you get lost in the fun of serious music making. Opening Reason should never feel like a chore, but instead the place where you have more fun making music than anywhere else. When we add things to Reason, we tend to choose things that we believe will make Reason more fun or help you generate more musical ideas. This is great. I agree with this. I've always loved Reason because it's a fun environment to make music. You can mess with the rack. There's so many ways to be creative inside Reason. We also want Reason to have the depth you need to take your creativity in unique, weird, and exciting directions. Just like you can never own enough guitar pedals, we want Reason to always have one more knob to twist, have one more slider to add to your combinator, or one more device to explore. In marketing speak, we sum this all up in our tagline, sound like you. It's never easy to convey the depth and richness of something like Reason, but we think those 3 words do a pretty good job of explaining to a newcomer the creative freedom and expressiveness that is unique to Reason. Okay, this is where I have a few thoughts. I think it's problematic to lean too far on the side of Reason just being fun and creative. They say we always want there to be one more knob to twist, one more slider to add to your combinator, and they use the idea of guitar pedals. I'm a guitarist, so let's take this analogy a little bit further. Yes, it's fun to get new guitar pedals, and you can never have enough. However, any serious guitarist knows that there are also extremely boring things that you have to deal with as well, like strings, proper setups on your instrument so they function well and are actually playable. You need to invest in good patch cables because ones like these suck and I really need to replace them. Leads are disposable. Guitar straps wear out. There are so many things that as a guitar player you have to think about and spend money on and take care of if you're serious beyond just making fun noises with your pedals. They say that their tagline is sound like you. Well, ironically, the reason that I actually left Reason for Ableton as my primary DAW is because the workflow limitations on Reason were what was keeping me from sounding like me. It got to a point where I realized I could just do things faster and more effectively inside Ableton. So while I absolutely love the Reason rack and Reason as a music making environment, if the only way you are treating it in terms of making it more creative is by adding one more knob, one more device, all this, stuff, you're not solving the problem. People will enjoy that and love that until they hit a point with their workflow that they can't do what they want to anymore. To go back to the guitar analogy, if your guitar is not properly set up, there's some styles of music and things you might want to do on the guitar that you physically can't just because the guitar is not optimized to allow you to do that. And I feel like that's kind of the issue with a lot of Reason workflow things. Getting the fundamentals right is not detracting from the goal of being creative in the most fun music making environment. Getting the fundamentals right better facilitates that goal because there are less points of friction that users might come up against when they're trying to be creative and have a really fun time in Reason. As a DAW, I think Reason has more character than pretty much any other software out there. However, Reason lacks in the fundamentals, in my opinion. I love the sentiment that they're setting up in this roadmap, in this blog post. I just don't want them to forget about the fundamentals. There are still so many fundamentals in terms of workflow and what a DAW should be that Reason actually needs. Getting those right, I think, will actually enhance their vision and their goal for making Reason the most creative, fun music-making environment. We don't see Reason as either a plugin or DAW. Reason is both, okay? Because right now your website doesn't show that sentiment. Right now the website leans heavily towards using Reason as a plugin. While most of the features that excite us and make Reason more fun almost always benefit everyone, you'll notice there's some features on the roadmap that's more plugin focused and some features more focused on Reason Standalone. Great, because Reason Standalone needs some love. So does the plugin actually, for that matter. The story so far. I'll admit I'm biased, but I believe this is an exciting time for a Reason user. Thanks to the ability to use Reason as a plugin in Reason 11 and the low barrier of entry with Reason Plus, there's now more people than ever using Reason. Cool. I hope so. I want more people using Reason. If this is the last 2 years of data, then it does show a pickup in terms of Reason users. Have people been trialing Reason Plus? Probably. Have they stayed on Reason Plus? That's what I'm curious about. We as a company are also more focused on Reason and are investing more in Reason than we have been in a long time. It might not be apparent from the outside, but Reason 12 is a testament to how committed we are to Reason. Really? Reason 12 is a testament to how committed you are to Reason? Because Reason 12 wasn't a good update. In Reason 12, we updated the graphics and improved the browser. But I want to take a moment to highlight the engineering effort behind it. This is an important point, I think. Reason is now over 20 years old, and the graphics engine used to be one of the oldest parts of the code. For years, we've put off changing the graphics engine because we knew what a massive undertaking it was. But in 2019, we decided that enough was enough. Yep, you read that right. The work to deliver those beautiful high-res graphics, spinning fans, and wear and tear on Subtractor started in 2019. Some of our best engineers spent almost 1.5 years performing the brain transplant that updating the graphics engine was. They meticulously moved Reason over, bit by bit, testing on more and more hardware configurations until we, in early 2021, opened for a broader public beta test. Not only did they make Reason work great at any zoom level, but they also switched out all graphics processing to use the dedicated graphics card that all modern computers have. To put it in perspective, we estimate the investment was on par with building the whole rack extension technology. There's still room for improvement in how Reason handles application zooming, but it's a huge leap for us to have this out. Reason is more future-proof than ever, and we want to have a great platform to build those features upon. Okay, so this is what I suspected. Creating high res was a lot more work than we as the end user are able to perceive when we look at it. I get this. I understand it. I realize that it may have taken a long time, but I still don't think that in and of itself is enough to make such a big deal about it in terms of the update. I've seen a lot of people saying that what the heck does updating graphics have to do with audio? This is a music making software. And I also agree with that sentiment. Yes, having high-res graphics is important, but like I talk about in my Reason Has an Inflation Problem video, that's just kind of should be a given at this point. And although it might have taken a few years to actually get the code and whatever to the point where high-res graphics was achievable, and although that may have been as much of a heavy task as creating the rack extension architecture, I don't think the end user really cares about that. It's a music making software. That's why the end user's using it. We're not computer developers. We don't care that it took that much work to fix the graphics on Reason. Not to diminish the task. I'm stoked they did it, but I just don't think it necessarily been conveyed in the most helpful way for a lot of end users. Looking ahead, our roadmap. This is the first time we do this, but we'll keep iterating on the format until we find something that works. This is a plan, not a promise. Plans sometimes change, and if they do, you'll be the first to know in a follow-up post. Beyond what's here, we'll of course continuously fix bugs and improve stability and performance. Under development. Smart browser, October. In Reason 12, we delivered a new, fresh, and fast browsing experience. No, you didn't. You made the current browsing experience, which still sucks, suck less. In October, we plan to ship an update that organizes all your content in a better way and makes finding patches and sounds much easier. That is exciting. I really want to see what that looks like. High-res rest of Reason, October. For Reason 12, the focus was to make the rack high-res, but in October, we will ship an update that updates the remaining parts of the sequencer and UI to high-res too. Like, here's the thing. October is just 1 month away from September. Why would you release all of this half-ass crap in September? Like, the whole of Reason wasn't in HD, just the rack. Oh, we're gonna give you a great browser, but we're actually just gonna give you like a really light version of it. And why would you not just wait a month, release the whole thing as Reason 12, and receive far less criticism and negative feedback on the release? I'm not sure whether this is damage control or whether this was always the plan, but if this was always the plan, that seems like a pretty poor release schedule. More styles for Combinator 2.0, November. Most of us spend too much time choosing the right button or knob to make our combinators really pop. They make the combinators so much more fun, and we want to have an even broader selection. And my personal testing shows that good-looking combinators sound better too. That would be called the placebo effect, and is similar to the very controversial topic of whether or not different DAWs actually sound different. And more styles for combinator. This is great. Another thing that I've seen a lot of people saying online is how we are musicians, not graphic designers. Why do we really care about designing a combinator? I agree with this to an extent. I think having the option and the flexibility to do what you want with a combinator is awesome. I also personally am not immensely interested in creating a whole bunch of combinator designs from scratch. What I think would be really cool is for Reason Studios to add a list of preset layouts. Just like you can change the background of the combinator, what if there was a list of preset knob fader layouts that you could select? And then you could adjust if you wanted to. If there was an extra knob you didn't need, you could remove it, or you could add another fader. But having a list of go-to layouts would be great. They've already got a bunch of these layouts from the combinators that they created for the Reason 12 release, so it wouldn't be too difficult to incorporate this into the combinator settings panel. Or even just have a folder in the browser that's just combinator layouts. When you click browse on the combinator button in Reason, it doesn't give you any kind of patches per se because the combinator is a utility. What if you click browse and there was a whole lot of pre-defined layouts in terms of knobs and stuff that you could use as a starting point? That'd be really cool. I'd love to see Reason Studios add that, or even someone else. Like if it's just a folder of combinator presets, it doesn't have to be Reason Studios doing that. Someone should do that. M1 support December. Reason will run natively on the Apple M1 processor. Great, that's really good. VST3 support in January. Yes, you read that right. VST3 support is coming to Reason. This is a big project, but we are working to deliver this as soon as possible, which is why it'll take a bit longer than the other stuff in the roadmap. Again, excellent. People have been wanting that for a long time. Reason Plus subscribers will get these as part of their subscription. The plan is to deliver them as free point upgrades to Reason 12 owners too. Great. I think half of them should have just been in the initial Reason 12 release, but better late than never. Under investigation. Things that are under investigation are things that we are looking closely at. No decision has been made as to exactly what we'll release and when, but follow the space and give us your feedback online. And things listed here should magically transform into more detailed items that are planned/under development by the time the next blog post is out in a few weeks. If they are releasing regular updates on this stuff every few weeks, to be honest, I doubt it'll be every few weeks. It might start that way, but it'll probably, take longer. This is awesome. Big fan of this. We're currently in the research phase of what our next device will be. Please make it good. Tight integration with other DAWs. Roughly half of you are using Reason in another DAW, and we want that experience to be as seamless as possible. Supporting more VST features and decreasing startup times are some of the key things we are looking at here. Great. Immediate musical results. Reason can take on many roles, but we believe its strength is getting ideas going quickly. We're investigating improvements in the current workflow sequencer and more. This here, in my opinion, needs to be an absolutely massive part of the development. This shouldn't just be an aside. This should be one of the biggest focuses you have. Authorization/offline mode for Reason Plus. We know that many of you depend on Reason and Reason Plus in situations where there's not always internet access. For Reason owners, authorization can sometimes be flaky, and there is currently no way to use Reason Plus without internet access. We are researching a new solution to solve both issues, hitting two drums with one stick, so to speak. This would be good. Being able to use Reason Plus without internet access would be good. If you made it this far, thank you for following along on our journey. Now I'll step away from the microphone and leave the stage to you. So I think that this is a fantastic first step for Reason Studios actually delivering on what they've been hinting that they're going to do. I think if they are able to stay transparent, listen to community feedback, actually take it on board, then this could be a really exciting couple of years to be a Reason user. I'll admit, I was pretty disappointed with the Reason 12 update and really wasn't sure what was going to happen next. I was going to wait a week or so just to kind of see what the general response of the community was before I said anything else. But this blog post has encouraged me. I am still mistrustful of Reason Studios. I still don't think this changes anything. This says what they're going to do, but they're going to have to demonstrate that they can actually follow along with this roadmap and listen to the community and make meaningful changes. but I think we're moving in the right direction. Now, does this blog post change whether or not you should update to Reason 12? Well, that will depend on whether or not they can deliver on the things that they've said they will here. If they add a smart browser and it's actually legit, and they high-res the rest of Reason and improve the combinator slightly, add VST3 support and M1, then I think by January next year, we do have what would probably be considered an actual reasonable update. If what they've talked about up until January sounds appealing to you, maybe updating to Reason 12 would be a good idea. Or you could wait until January. I still don't think Reason 12 offers enough at this stage, but I think once they do the things they said they will by January, Reason 12 is starting to look a lot more compelling. Anyway, that's the video, guys. Let me know what you think of this blog post, this new development from Reason Studios. I'm actually feeling a whole lot better than I was about the Reason 12 update, but let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you like where they're going? Are you a fan of the transparency? What do you want Reason Studios to do? They said they're going to be listening to our feedback, comments on social media, and the Reason Talk forum. So leave a comment and let me know what you want to see them do. If you haven't already, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time where I'll probably try and make some music maybe. So just talking crap about Reason. See you later.